It is absolutely Miller time. Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On Badgers, your daily podcast on the Wisconsin Badgers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Locked On Badgers, your team every single day. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Ryan Herrings, coming to you live from Birmingham today. We have a tremendous guest. We got Nick Osen, 247, coming on. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel, giving you a way to turn all that energy into bigger potential wins with college basketball parlay profit boost. Head over to FanDuel.com to get started. Today's episode, we got Isaac Miller popping to Wisconsin Hoops Talk. Latest thoughts on Nolan Winter, in-state recruiting, your questions, and we are joined as always, I shouldn't say as always, but as much as I can make it happen, by the great Nick Osen, 247 Sports, a good friend of mine, obviously, and just a tremendous dude in general. Nick, I want to start here, man. We got to talk Isaac Miller, committing to Wisconsin, 2027.
Absolutely.
But I want to start somewhere else first. Recently, and I haven't had you on the show since this happened, 247 announced they're going to keep Nick Osen around, and honestly, I'm tremendously proud of you, and not that you need that, but your success is amazing. It's a reflection of who you are and what you do. And congratulations, man. It's awesome.
No, Ryan, I mean, flat out, dude, thank you so much. Sincerely to you and obviously our friends within this network, like for jumping on. I think it was like 2 months or so after I got here, and amazing platform. Obviously, we've all become very good friends. And you know what? I'm grateful, dude. I mean, there's a lot of great people, doing this. I love my squad with McNamara, Payne, and obviously the community we've got over there. Bill Woj, I met him at the Memorial Union last week. Pretty cool. But no, thank you sincerely, dude. Amazing couple weeks, but we're just getting started. That is a promise, brother.
Yeah, I love it. And Bill Woj, by the way, run silent, run deep. Him and I know where that's from. Maybe not all others, but he'll get that reference for sure. He's a great dude. Honcho's in the chat. Badger said Nick is the hardest working man on the Badger beat. Kevin's great dude too. Great to see you the other day at the game. Always good to visit. I mean, there's so many good dudes in this community. So many good people. Not just dudes. I mean, ladies, guys. It's a tremendous community. Let's get into Isaac Miller, man. 2027 in-state kid, 6'5", 250, commits to the Badgers, high 3-star. Really good offer list. When you start looking at the schools that are either officially offered or kind of been kicking the can on him, you're talking Iowa, Florida, Michigan have had interest, Miami, Florida, and you could go on and on. I think there's been 14 or 15 offers here. Talk to
Notre
me about
Dame, Minnesota.
Notre Dame.
Yeah. So, I mean, first and foremost, I'll be honest. I had the graphic, obviously. I reported for probably about 2 months that I thought things were trending really well. But this came, Ryan, a touch quicker than I kind of thought. I thought he would at least get to the spring visit that he told me on March 21st. Loaded day, by the way, which we'll get into in a few minutes. But, he shared with me, actually, you're getting this a little bit before the readers. I have the story written, but I waited to put it out till after. He got to campus earlier this week, and essentially that just sealed the deal. I mean, he loves Matt Mitchell and the way that he's recruited him. Mitchell's a really, really good, honest coach and recruiter in that he's not going to, kind of overhype or oversell anything. Like he tells it how it is. Hey, this is what you're great at. This is where you need to grow, things of that nature. And I think that really resonated with Miller and his family. So first off, phenomenal work by Wisconsin and really, good call, I think, by Miller to get in the class at this point. Now, I know that we're going to talk further about the class, but I will just say, kind of in a vague spot here, Ryan, there is a chance that they could sweep like truly all of the guys that they are really hoping to get within the state. So did I expect Miller to pop? I think it's from our guy, Zach. Maybe not in this moment, but I felt really, really good, about obviously where things were trending. And it didn't have a player comp off the top of my head. So I just want to describe a little bit of, kind of the scouting. I have seen him play, I think, 2 games and a scrimmage or practice. So great size, like you mentioned, like truly phenomenal. You can obviously have that type of size that like outside or edge. You see a lot of tight ends in a spot like that. So really, really impressive. He's got good get off, really athletic. He's strong. There's still room to kind of add a little bit more to that frame. And I think he showed kind of his maybe lateral mobility and side to side in terms of making plays. Some of the best things that I saw were him getting into the defensive backfield, obviously, and kind of being able to make stops, whether run game towards him, QB, obviously he caused some pressures when I was there. So, really, really good get that. Though, let's be honest, Ryan, I know we are both in touch with kind of our fans and communities. 3, 4, 5 months back, I don't think many fans would have maybe felt as good. We've now got 2 Catholic Memorial guys in the class. Really a nice job so far.
Yeah, that's a great breakdown. You hit on a lot of what I would say. A couple of things I would just throw out there watching the film. You see a lot of awareness from him. He able to drop back, a couple of interceptions. He had 7 pass breakups. He does a really good job kind of understanding spatially. A lot of kids with his athleticism, they're just pin the ears back, get to the quarterback. He feels the game in a certain way that's unique for his age. Basketball guy, versatility. He also plays tight end. I think there's a lot of upside there when you focus on one particular spot on the edge with that frame and that get off, as you mentioned. And then he has a motor. Like you see him making plays that are outside that first rep, that first burst. He continues getting after it. I think motor is something that, quite frankly, not everybody has, and you can't get into everybody. So that's a really good get.
You can't always teach that. So I agree. I mean, I'll be honest. I think our ratings team does a great job. I would say they're probably the best in the country. I think, nobody's perfect, but I feel like in terms of ceiling, his rating should be a little bit higher. Now, I get if you want to see more film and things like that, but don't be shocked, Ryan, if he ends up a little bit closer to that 89 or so range when things get going again his senior fall.
Yeah, and I think at that position too, when you start looking at measurables and then you look at offer lists, some of the schools that are in on him, quite frankly, they typically are in on the 4-star type measurable kids.
Oh yeah. So, I mean, Michigan, Miami, ND, I forget. I think that was an offer. I'm pretty sure, but I know that obviously, interest, because he was really enjoying them for a little bit. Utah obviously had a really good program going. They were in Indiana, the national champs. So, yeah, strong offer list.
Let me ask you this, and we had a question here that dovetails into what I was going to say. Badger 2000, is UW doing anything different with the in-state kids? You go back a couple years ago, man, and there was a lot of, I would call it some frustration, some consternation about in-state recruiting. And now, as you mentioned, you have just down the list, Dustin Roach, McIntosh, you have Miller, of course, Logan's committed. Certainly, Badgers.
And that ain't going to be it, Ryan.
Right, that's what I'm saying. The Badgers seem to be in a good spot with the Mallinger kids. You got Kingston Allen out there. Have they changed anything in state, or is this just kind of a really loaded in-state class that they prioritized? What do you think?
So I want to be accurate. I don't want to kind of jump away from this. So basically, from my understanding, I think first and foremost, this is a special class, okay? Just like basketball, which we'll get into. So naturally, there's going to be a lot more focus. I was always one that, I didn't mean to jump to like the defense of the staff, because I think they would even, tell you like maybe would have changed a thing or two early on. But I never thought it was like lack of effort. I mean, they had these in-state blitzes, and Midwest blitzes, Ryan, where they were focusing on a lot of these guys. Like they were getting into these schools. Now I think they've probably gotten into more. Now I think even the way the program is maybe struggled in terms of wins and losses like a little bit. I think people are feeling a little bit more about the culture and what like Fickle and the staff are like. And I think they are really good evaluators. I don't think that's something that many would doubt very often, especially at the high school ranks. So in terms of, are they doing anything different? Look, there's obviously a higher focus. I think that things are a little bit more maybe out there in terms of showcasing that focus as well. But there also are just simply better in-state players in this class, more that they want to land, like 7, 8, potentially 9, rather than, hey, we'd love to get 2 or 3, and then we're going to focus on Ohio, Florida, Texas, wherever you might say. So I think they have gotten better in terms of establishing those in-state school relationships and such. But I also just think a lot of these guys are better 3, 4 stars.
I think that's really well said. Mr. October, little bit of column A, little bit of column B. I think that's very well said. And listen, give credit. This is a really good in-state class, and they've attacked it as such. And they've started to lock them in. Like you made a really good point. You go back 3 or 4 months. I mean, there was a period where a lot of people didn't think Coors Logan would end up here. I remember that. There were people thinking he would go certain spot. They locked that up early, and getting these guys locked up early it creates momentum, right? Like it builds this thing where other players want to jump in. Like, let's be honest. Nick, you and I were in high school once. You were probably more popular than I was, but you want to sit on the cool kids table. You want to sit with the other kids, right? And I think recruiting is a little bit about that. You want to build momentum, and kids want to be alongside other really talented kids.
Yeah, no, and there's something about, look, again, I don't want to give away this whole article, and so I'll pitch it a little bit, guys, because we got some cool things coming. But like, I just love, Ryan, how open these guys have been. Like Coors, we kindly talked before he even committed, and he told me about what that would look like and who he was hoping to bring in. Similar thing with Isaac tonight. Dustin Roach hasn't really shied away from that. Ethan McIntosh, I think he's been busy, with wrestling, but he does some great things on social media with that and things of that nature. Obviously, he had a great run with wrestling. So I don't think it's going to slow down. I mean, without giving everything, like Mac and I, John McNamara and I put in a couple crystal balls tonight. Not sure of a timeline and things, but I have a story that's going out. We're doing this at just before 10. So it's going to be around 11:30 for those that want to stay up of who could be next. Dude, this might be a take, people can come back, whatever. Recruiting is fluid. Like you just kind of hit on, my friend. But I think they get at least 7 or 8 of these guys. I do at this point.
Well, and please take time, go check out everything Nick and John and Payne, they do at 247. We'll talk about that again before the show wraps up, but support good people doing good things. We always say that on this channel. That's certainly Nick Osen among those. We do need to take a quick break here. We're going to come back, talk about a loaded junior day coming up. We got in-state basketball recruiting. We do got to hit on the Badgers basketball team, mopping up Maryland, but also some worry with Nolan Winter. We'll kind of talk about that a little bit. That's coming up next on Locked On Badgers with the absolutely phenomenal Nick Osen. That's coming up next on Locked On Badgers. First, a quick second for our friends of the show. A quick second to say thank you for tuning in to Locked On Badgers. Today's episode brought to you by our incredible friends over at FanDuel today. And we're coming up on the best part of college basketball, right? We're coming up on March Madness. The Badgers are going to be in it, and it is a tremendous time if you want to get involved in that action over at March Madness. You can do more than ever right now because of our good friends over at FanDuel. Again, tremendous partners, been partners for a long time with Locked On Badgers and the Locked On Podcast Network. And right now you can turn your love for college basketball and your love for March Madness, which is everybody loves March Madness, into an even bigger win with the College Basketball Parlay Profit Boost. Apply your profit boost and instantly get bumped up on the potential payout. You can mix spreads, totals, whatever you want on your profit boost. Head over to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. Go safe, go bold, ride with the Badgers. That's what I always do. Go play your game over at FanDuel.com. Today's episode brought to you also by our incredible friends over at TurboTax. And it is coming up on that time of the year. It is coming up on that time of year with TurboTax. It's tax time, but for a lot of us, the old way of doing taxes, it's a lot. Trying to book an appointment, it's not the most convenient. Sitting in a waiting room with a stack of your papers, emailing back and forth, wondering if they really get your situation. But this year, you're getting a major upgrade. Intuit TurboTax has in-person locations nationwide. You can meet face-to-face with a real tax expert, and your documents get uploaded straight to your TurboTax app on the spot. And just like that, you're done. Your TurboTax expert works to get you every dollar you deserve while you get real-time notifications as you go about your day. It's the relief of walking in, meeting a real person, and walking out knowing your taxes are being handled right. Head to TurboTax.com/local to find a store near you and book your appointment. Let's come back in here with Nick Osen. Loaded show today. We had a bunch of questions as well. We're probably not going to get to everything just because we had so many people. Listen, when Nick's on the show, people ask a lot of questions. But we'll get into what we can do. Nick, hoops. Let's go to hoops really quick because we're going to try to get this in, but we got to talk Badgers. That senior night was incredible. And I said on the post-game show, it was probably outside. If Nolan Winter hadn't gotten hurt, that was probably my favorite game of the year because of the moments, because of great guard, son, but then Nolan Winter did get hurt. So let's start with the Nolan Winter news. What was the mood kind of there when it happened? Afterwards, talking to Greg Gard and the team and John Blackwell with Nolan Winter.
Yeah, Ryan. So it was eerily silent right when it happened. Right in the Kohl Center, it was a pretty good crowd. There have been some really good ones here. That was a solid one, and it went dead quiet. I mean, I was afraid to talk to some of the guys next to me and things. I couldn't even get a great view until after, basically, when he was going off and we had the TV kind of replays near us. So here's where I'm at. Obviously it's injury, so you never want to speculate too much. But I mean, going right off of the words from head coach Greg Gard at that moment, like we haven't fully checked in or anything today. I think that at least it seemed like they avoided the worst. I think at least based on the initial kind of commentary, maybe avoided like a fracture, like the most long-term type of issue with an ankle. It was the left ankle, I believe. The right one is one that he'd rolled prior. So Gard, he didn't really shy away about talking about that portion. My read, this is very much unofficial, so I'm not pretending to, know for sure, be a doctor or anything, but I'd both be surprised if he played Saturday, and I would also be surprised if you don't see him again this year if they were able to avoid the worst. Because you talk about heart and soul. I mean, he maybe isn't as vocal at times as like Boyd, but he bleeds this place, man. He is a program guy, one of the hardest workers. Obviously, has become a star that will eventually play in the NBA. But he would want to play very badly. Sounded like he was already rehabbing and treating this thing last night, Wednesday night. So that's a good sign. Gard said, I believe, decent spirits for Winter after. So maybe it's not perfect spirits, but it could be much, much worse. So I'm cautiously optimistic. It's one that we'll be able to see play out and hopefully get a better idea in about, 32, 33 hours out there at Mackey.
Yeah, I think you're dead on with the heart that Nolan Winter plays with. Like, you never really come out of a game, good or bad. The Badgers have had many good games and a couple clunkers. I don't think you ever come out of it saying, did Nolan Winter play hard? Like, I think he brings it just about every night.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Big culture guy. Let me ask you this. I'm of the opinion that even if he's day-to-day, which he's listed as day-to-day now, I don't think you play him against Purdue. My opinion. That's just my opinion. I'm not here to try to take games away from people if they can play. Where would you go to kind of replace some of those minutes in the short term? Is it Garlock getting more? Is it playing smaller? Where would you go?
Yeah, I think you gave two options, but I think it's A, B, C, and D. All the above, truthfully. It's not where there's a little bit of a silver lining, and I don't mean obviously that it's a good thing by any means for this to have happened to Nolan, who, by the way, is an incredible person and awesome to deal with as well. I would say I think, A, fortunate it happened maybe this week and not in a week or two, obviously. And B, so Austin Rapp is healthy, and he's going to get his minutes. I do think Garlock played some of his best extended minutes this week against Maryland. You saw some nice chemistry with him and Kins, who I know we're both high on. I think you can also try small ball, but it gets a little bit more difficult because Jack Danicki is out as well. At least he has been. We'll see. He could eventually return. Things aren't necessarily pointing that way right now. So to me, Ryan, it's kind of a, what do they say? It takes a village. I think you're going to have to rely on 3 or 4 of those guys, maybe play some of the younger guards a little bit more if you're going to go full small ball. I think you will see that, but I don't think you're going to see it, kind of as the lone suggestion or fix. I mean, Winter, there's no question. You can say Boyd's the best player, Blackwell, like whatever you want to look at. Winter is the highest ceiling guy on the team and maybe the most irreplaceable. I know a lot on my board we're saying that about him because his skill set is so unique and he does so much defensively too. So obviously you wish for a quick recovery there, and hopefully it's not kind of as scary as it looked initially.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I think he is the most irreplaceable, which is not the same as best player. It's not the same as most, but I think if you were in bad scenario, lose Blackwell or Boyd, I think you can shift the other one to kind of handle a lot of the playmaking roles, and you move Carrington into the starting lineup. I think it'd be okay-ish. Certainly not as good. Winter gives you something nobody else on the roster can give you. So I agree.
And not many in the country, Ryan.
Yep.
I'm not calling him a top 10, 20 guy in the country, but like there's a reason he's popping up on draft boards. I mean, frankly, he was at the end of last year, but like mid to late second round, going for I think next year and just top 100 consistently because he's a true 7 feet or so. Like very true. He's gotten a little stronger. He can move so well. And obviously that shot is quite impressive.
Yeah, he's phenomenal, man. No doubt there. Let's stay hoops for a second. I got multiple questions about this. This is Cannon asking how you feel about the basketball class coming up. Do we think we land at least 2 of McDuffie, Brown, Davis, and then we also had a question in here, one of the ones that I starred. Let's see if I can find it quick. Yep, this one's from Badger Football as a Pulse. How does Nick feel about the 27 basketball class? Same type of question, multiple people. I know you've been covering this as close as anybody, Nick. How do you feel about that 27 class? Another loaded group.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Ryan. So 27 football special, 27 basketball may be the best in the history of the state. And that's me talking to people that are much older than me that have been doing this for a long time, dude. I mean, double digit easily, D1 guys, 6, 7, 8, potentially close to that, high major guys. So I appreciate it. I try to get to a game a week, doing something even a little crazy for myself, going pro day, out to Freedom to see Donovan Davis, and then driving out to Mackey. So it's going to be a little crazy. Follow along. But no, in terms of with the Badgers, look, I'm optimistic because I see for myself the way that this play style is setting in with kids. And Greg Gard and the staff have been more visible at games. Like, these are really good things. But as we know, I've been pretty careful not to put numbers or even really make projections, Ryan, because portal is generally going to come first in the timeline. So that obviously kind of takes care of some spots, but also more so budget allocation, right? Because if you get 1-year transfers, okay, they'll be gone by the time these guys are in. But that stuff matters. And number two, so I've talked to Jaylen Brown. I've been to, I think, 4 of his games, 4 of Conan's. It'll be 4 of Davis's. Like, I don't think any of these guys are really in a huge rush right now. I think it seems like they're going to finish out their seasons. Then you have kind of a touch of AAU early spring. Then it's like June. And then a few people want to take OVs or play this into the summer. So I appreciate that. Do I think that they'll get at least one of those guys? Yeah, I think it kind of wavers for me. Like, I felt really, really good about Jaylen Brown for a while. I still think the Badgers are in the best spot. Like, they really like him, but that's going to get played out for a while. Conan, one of the best system fits. Like, Badgers are absolutely in there. That recruitment's a little bit quieter. I've formed some good relationships. I think Wisconsin's in there. Top 2 or 3 at least, not to give an exact number. Davis, they are battling. I mean, Iowa State is a true contender there, but like, the Badgers are in this thing, and Iowa is one of those schools to watch as well, actually, with McCollum and some of their staff. I'm trying to think really who else. Not an in-state guy, but Babukar An. I think he was our highest jumper in the ratings. So great eval from the staff. I think he's top 65, top 70 now. Would be a huge get. You're battling some of the same schools. I mean, Minnesota is in the mix there, and I think Medved's a good coach, but I see that one right now coming down to Badgers and Cyclones yet again. So it's going to be really interesting. I think the sweet spot is like 2 really nice high school players, and then you see who you can get in the portal. Haven't heard as much, in terms of kind of the Badgers and McDuffie of late. So I think that hits on everybody. And then Cager obviously just got offered about a week ago. Badgers absolutely in that. I hope to see a Wisco Lutheran game, the best team Wisconsin has had in 15 plus years.
Yeah, Cannon was curious about McDuffie, so you hit on him. And you talking about Knippel. I mean, Knippel's 6'9" with range, maybe a tick higher now. Like,
he might be 6'10", dude. He might be. Like, I've got some good sources there in the high school world that tell me like he's like a true 6'10", can shoot that. Mm-hmm. Good motor, plays on Team Hero. That's a top 3 AAU team in the nation. So, yeah, man, it's exciting. Like, if you like basketball, it really is. Driving home, but it's going to be really intriguing to follow. I'd say I've approached it with trepidation, Ryan, because I know that the staff, they are at these games as much as anybody. And clearly, if you love playing in a good like system, Badgers have that. But there are just other layers of the stuff as well.
All right, we're going to take a second there. And again, I could talk to Nick for hours, but I got to be respectful of the time. We're going to come back last segment here. We are going to talk about a loaded football visit weekend coming up. We are also going to get into a couple of your questions. Make sure we'll hit a few of them there. That's coming up next on Locked On Badgers. But first, a quick second for our friends of the show. Quick second, as always, to say thank you for tuning into Locked On Badgers. Today's episode brought to you by our incredible friends over at Indeed. And Indeed, like, it can be hard to make the right hires. It can be hard to find the right people to to fit whatever you're trying to do from a job standpoint. You got inboxes overflowing, you got bosses after, you got projects you got to do all this, and then you still have this spot that's open. Go fill that spot with Indeed. Indeed is here for you to help you find the right person for that spot, location, certifications, experience, all that good stuff. So you find the right fit for the right job for you. Spend less time searching, more time actually interviewing the candidates that check all the boxes over at Indeed. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person through all this chaos, this is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. And right now, listeners of this show will get $75 sponsored job credit to help you get your job the premium status it deserves over at Indeed.com/podcast. Go to Indeed.com/podcast right now. Support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this show. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions do apply. Need to hire. This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Today's episode also brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. And I got to tell you, for all the stuff that Nick does, traveling across the country, I think he's probably maybe taking a few 5 Hour Energy shots along the way because it's easy energy. You get it on the go, no sugar, it's convenient, and they have incredible flavors. Over 17 flavors, and cherry's my favorite. If I was drafting 5 Hour Energy flavors, cherry's where I'm going to go. It's bold, it's simple, it's got that red profile. I've said it before, that's my favorite flavor. Rajiv is all about the grape. You can't go wrong. Right now, over at 5 Hour Energy, find your new favorite flavor at 5 Hour Energy shots, available online, 5hourenergy.com, or over at Amazon. Now, let's get Nick back on here. And Nick, as always, man, where can people find the incredible work? You mentioned some of your team are, certainly Mac has been on the show, Payne's been on the show yourself. Where can they find your work if they don't know, and what you got coming up?
Yeah, Brian, I appreciate it. Badger 247, man. I try to share all of my work on Twitter, obviously at the real Nick Osen on Twitter, on X. It's going to be a busy weekend, even for my standards. So we'll have live coverage from Pro Day. Going to check in, obviously, with some of the coaches as well as the players that we see, 20-plus players, Ryan. Then I'm making the drive over to Freedom to check out Donovan Davis, have a fresh interview, late night there, then zooming over to Mackey Arena. Big game with Purdue. Now, Wisconsin's in a good spot either way, but if you can add a win against Purdue, I think that's always great. I'm also proud to say real quick, because we can go a few minutes past what I had said, so we're good. I will have boots on the ground any single game that the Badgers basketball team is playing the rest of the way. So Chicago, West Lafayette, whether they end up in St. Louis, I hope so. Tampa, Buffalo, Oklahoma City, I will be there. We'll have people here doing spring football to start. It's going to be a great month, man. One of my two favorite.
I want to tell you really quick, and my really good friend James Howard, who works at ESPN, who, by the way, helped get helmet stickers for Mason Post and Cooper Catalano. Shout out to James for helping make that happen. He told me the other day, you got to stop being so respectful of Nick's time. He's great. Just keep him on the show for an hour. So shout out to my friend James, who's also a fan of the Nick Osen Hour.
Awesome. That's awesome, James.
Let me hit a couple of these questions here. We got a couple variations of this one. I really like this question. Papa Rob said, after a strong portal class, should we expect a high-quality 27 class, or are we more of a portal team now? Have we shifted to more, is it 50-50 portal high school recruiting, 60-40? What do you think going forward?
Yeah, great. Really, really good question, honestly. So obviously this is talking football because strong portal classes for both football and basketball. Look, I think this is me putting the number, but obviously it's kind of an educated guess. I think if you could do 70 to 75% high school, and then filling out the rest with the portal. I understand it was a massive portal class this last cycle. Some of those guys, of course, will pan out. Some will start right away. Some will be depth pieces. We'll see. But that isn't what, if they got to choose what they hope to do in the program every year. I think they would probably look for, my numbers, 11 to 14, maybe 15 each year. But you really want to build through high school. And frankly, I'll say finally, because I'm excited, Ryan, because man, when you have them on the shows, we put in time getting to know these players, sometimes their families, through the high school process. I think the perfect example is the linebackers, of course, but you're starting to see them stick around, right? There was some buzz 2024, 25 guys that were going to start hitting the portal, and most of them stuck. So you've got the nucleus through that. You want most of your leaders through that. I think this is ideally going to be the last portal QB we see, at least for a couple of years. That would be my guess. I think they would certainly love that. And you go from there. So I think that answers your question. Obviously portal's important. You're silly and you will be, rendered really non-competitive, whoever it is, if you're not utilizing that at all. But if you can build, retain, develop through high school, which now, frankly, from what I'm seeing, I think the NIL all over has been increased, and we've reported that, Ryan, since September. I think you're going to be in a good place, especially spots like, man, QB, O-line, and especially edge rusher. Like, you want to keep those guys in-house because, man, they are expensive.
Yeah, no doubt there. Let's throw this in here, White Marlin. And again, we won't get to everybody's comments, just not quite enough time, but appreciate you guys. Also want to say thank you for kind of just bearing with me. Obviously not my normal setup. I'm in a hotel on a little laptop, so it is more difficult to get comments and ad reads. So appreciate everybody there. White Marlin had a bunch of kind of superlatives with the new staff, the new positions. We wanted to just focus on one of these. White Marlin, most looking forward to how which position group improves. We'll say with the players and the new staff additions, Nick.
Yeah. So this is, I think this is not, singularly mentioning anybody, but more so just excitement about the talent in the room. And I think there's going to be a level and sense of cohesion. So I think I'm really, really intrigued to see just how that O-line looks. I think there are so many new faces, Ryan. I'd say new or unproven, right? So it's going to be really, really intriguing. Obviously, we thought that A.J. Blazik did a solid job. And obviously Eric Mateos, who, I'm fortunate to have gotten to meet and speak with when did some interviews, is probably one of the best in the country. It's obviously why they made the move. That run game could be really, really special too. So intrigued to see that. I'll also add most important guy retained. I think my mind always goes to, if we're talking coaching staff, actually now that I read that, I think that's a little bit of what it is. Mind might just go right to Matt Mitchell. I mean, I think obviously he's thought very highly of. He just got the associate head coach title. So obviously credit and congrats to him. Anybody, I think, on the staff would say he's one of the best recruiters, showed his ability to develop, especially last year. I know us and Justin were all excited to see what he can do with Clayton, Jalen Williams. So that's kind of where my mind went.
Yeah, I'm going to go receiver. Listen, you can go a lot of spots here, Nick. I mean, certainly I'm fascinated to see what happens at quarterback. I'm fascinated to see what happens in the corner room, although he's still Paul Hayes, but he's moved into more of a DB role instead of corners. But, dude, receiver, man, I am just fascinated at, quite frankly, almost an entirely new mix and then some young guys that are retained and new coaches in that area. I can't wait to see what Malachi Coleman looks like, Zion Kearney. I can't wait to see what year 2 of Eugene Hilton looks like, Rigby. It's going to be a fascinating group to follow, man. So I'm going to go with receiver, but you could hit a bunch of spots here and not be wrong. But receiver's where I'm going to go.
Absolutely. No, that's a good one, man. I think it's a spot that it's like, it's funny. I think I said similar on the radio or something. I was trying to remember. I just said this somewhere. Some similar players back, like you said, a bunch of transfers. Who really sets himself apart there? And who can kind of show consistency in practice? I mean, I reported, it was before OTAs even got going, but obviously you just get a feel for how guys kind of handle themselves. Good things about Hilton, as we expected. Henry and Brooks, like, they didn't come back not to play, so they will be in the mix. But one that I feel like consistent buzz, I think Brady Collins mentioned him a month or two ago, and then this source mentioned him to me. I've heard his last name said a couple different ways. I think it's DiMaggio.
I say it Jalen, a different way every time.
Yeah. He's gonna play. That's what I'd heard. He's obviously one of the most proven in terms of numbers where they were. But we will see. That's a good choice too, brother.
Yeah, I can't wait to see him too. Like you mentioned, big frame, red zone guy. He's been productive. Let's finish on this question here, and then I'll give you the floor to bring us out. Anything else you wanted to talk about? Because again, I'm already 3 minutes past where I said I'd keep you. This one from Honcho, man, good friend of the show for sure. Good friend of both of our communities. Says Nick is into sports cards, as am I. He said, "What is your most prized card for both of you? Did you get them graded?" I'm going to kick it to you. Most prized card or card that you're chasing right now?
Yeah, I'll just say quickly, there's similar answers. So maybe not the most expensive, but like a really prized card that I found at a local show last year. Caleb Williams, rookie, national treasure, dual patch. So, for people that might not be in the hobby, dual patch, like multiple looks of kind of a jersey on the card. So excited. I'm always looking for Caleb. Obviously, everybody looks for kind of their favorite QB or their team's QB. Cade Cunningham is one that I'm starting to chase a little bit. And then one of the most prized ones I also have is a Luka. It used to be a lot better. it's gone down in value, unfortunately. But a nice PSA 10 rated rookie.
Oh, that's a clean card, though. I think for me, my most valuable card is probably not my favorite, but I have I have a Cooper, Knipple, Malawat, triple auto, Bowman Best, number to 10. Like that's
You can't even say it without smirking.
That's
I know
that's
you
a
texted me
nuke,
that.
especially with the way Flag and Knipple play.
Dude,
But I'll tell
it's
you really
insane.
quick.
I didn't know if you still had it. I didn't know if you flipped it or something.
No, I feel like those dudes are just balling out, man. I can't bring myself to flip it. And then I really quick, my favorite card, I have a Willie Mays on card auto that I pulled out of like a variety box for $10 out of Kmart when Kmart was a thing. And it's just
And it's a real auto.
On card, real auto, Willie Mays, just one of the all-time goats in baseball, right? So that's probably my favorite card, but I think people would pay more for the Flag Knipple triple auto.
I mean, geez, I kind of want to know. Do you have an idea what that's going for right now? Are you good saying it, or offline?
Yeah, no, I think the comps are around 3 on graded. If you send it in and it pops at a PSA 9 or 10, which if people don't collect cards, you can send your cards in to get graded. They look at corners, surfacing, edging, and they give it a grade. If it gets a PSA 10, it's essentially like a perfect card. And
if I was in your case, I'm not, because obviously we're a little bit different stages in our life. But if I had that, I'd be selling that because I got, wedding to pay for and all that. Dang, dude. Because make sure people know I don't think that's 300. I think it's 3 something else.
It's a rare card, yeah, and it's a rookie. Like it's a good card for sure. Maybe it's unbelievable. Graded. I'm gonna give you the floor because again, I've kept you for longer. But anything else you wanted to hit on your way out the door? We didn't get into all the questions, which I apologize for. I'll take the blame for that one. But anything else you wanted to hit on the way out, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, last time I think. Thank you guys for the questions. It's also on me. We'll make sure to go at least 45 next time. Love the opportunities. And I would just say, frankly, thank you. I mean, I don't shy away that my relationships with these guys and the fans are like my favorite part of this job. Wouldn't be able to kind of have the opportunity that I recently got to be able to do this without you guys. So thank you. I promise we're just getting started. I mean, there won't be a spot that necessarily can have people and legs and eyes in person at everything that's coming up this month, right? Whether March Madness, football practices, calling recruits. So it's going to be a blast.
Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Again, coming to you from Birmingham. Thank you for being a part of this community, building it. Locked On has become the #1 sports podcast network, and that's because of what we're able to do in this network, getting people like Nick Osen, but also because of all of you helping build this. And I really do appreciate that. When you're done here, if you want to, you can get ad-free episodes of Locked On over at our Locked On Everyday Air program. You can go check that out in the show notes if you're interested. We will wrap it there, as Jim Thompson says, on Wisconsin. Mr. October says, Nick, visit the show again soon. He always has an open door. Always has an open door. We will wrap it there, guys. Talk to you tomorrow. And from like Jim said, man, on Wisconsin, and thank you to Nick.